All right, this is the Gundog, and we're talking about Horror in Review 2016. The last two movies I saw of the year was The Wailing, which is a Korean horror suspense film, not about killing whales, but wailing like, ah, whale! Well, was I wailing about a whale? If you killed my whale, that's what my wailing would sound like. Yeah, I think that's right. Okay, and then the other one was The Invitation, draft house picture that I saw a trailer for. Some of you might have also about a party. It's like a dinner party, but something's not quite right. Our main character's like, well, we haven't heard from you in 2 years. And both were excellent movies. What I can say about The Wailing was I like to kind of predict these things, from a storytelling element. And I've seen and read so much stuff through the years. I feel like I could see a lot of things coming. And I'll say that The Wailing was well made. The director has his own like original flair. This is only his third movie. I was trying to see what else he had done, and don't ask me to say his name. But yeah, The Wailing was good, except for the fact that like halfway through, I'm like, original, albeit predictable. I guess that's a contradiction, but his style was original. And into the movie, I was completely wrong about everything. So I feel like that's a spoiler in and of itself, but at the same time, I consider it a challenge. Watch this movie, try to call halfway through, see if you can figure out what's going on. And there's no like cheap tricks or something just comes out of nowhere. Like I feel like there's enough sufficiently told throughout the film that like, oh, it justified the end. Sort of, I don't know. It was a good experience. The Wailing. Back to The Invitation. What I want to say about this movie is what it does well is suspense. Expertly executed suspense. I even already knew how it ended. I had someone. I'm terrible. I love spoilers. Sometimes I feel like they just saved me 2 hours. So I knew how it was going to end, but I watched this movie and I was at the edge of my seat the whole time. It was the surprise of the year for me. Go ahead and check out The Invitation. Um, a movie I saw this year that I don't believe is from 2016, from a few years ago, is House of the Devil, which is an excellent film. Shot like, God, I think it was, is it from the 90s? But it's shot like it's in the 70s or the 80s. I don't know. You people have to correct me. I am ignorant. But that movie was advertised to me as a movie that just did suspense well. But it didn't do it enough for me. I found myself bored through a lot of it. Uh, that director, I went back and found out that director did, and I might be wrong about this, but I believe he did Cabin Fever 2, which is a trilogy I really enjoy. Three different directors, but the second one was an interesting, more of a comedic take on a flesh-eating bacteria in a high school. So have fun with that. Still recommended. Um, I'm going to mention Contracted Phase 2. I think that was 2015, but I saw it this year. If you've seen Contracted, you don't need to see Contracted Phase 2. It takes place right after the first movie. That's all well and good, but I didn't feel necessary. I mentioned it because I saw Bite, which came out this year, and that film is just a clone of kind of like Contracted 2 in that it is a clone of Contracted, but it's just themed with like insect. It's got like an insect theme. It didn't feel completely half-assed. There were some gross out effects, but yeah, you don't really need to see it. I think we should mention Lights Out and a film called Baskin. Baskin, I think it's from 2013. It's a Turkish film, and much like Lights Out, which came out this year, it is a full feature-length film based on a short. And without knowing that, it would still very much feel like that. These movies were just too drawn out for me. There's a guy on Rotten Tomatoes who said about Baskin, like, "Hey, Nicholas Winding Refn, this is how you do it," and I would absolutely disagree. It was just too drawn out, and I guess it was kind of pretty at times, but I don't know. The boring pass. And Lights Out again based on a short, so there was no There just wasn't enough to care about from the characters. The monster was something that I hadn't heard about. I'll occasionally begin to look up Google. I'll go to Rotten Tomatoes, like what's coming out, what's out right now, and The Monster was an independent film. Uh, Funny enough, reminded me of 2010's film Monsters, which I don't know if you guys remember that. It was not too distant future. I guess aliens already kind of populate the world, but they're like big kind of dinosaur spore-like aliens. I don't know. You don't see much of them, just like The Monster, and it's more of a character piece. The movie's really about the characters, and it does that well, but I don't know. I want to see more monsters in my monster movie. What was another one? No, what's her? Charlize Theron? She was in a movie called Monster. No monsters in that either. Wouldn't recommend. And I was on the fence on whether or not to bring this up, but since we already talked about monsters, I did see Shin Godzilla this year, which is Toho's latest Godzilla film. Toho, of course, are the people who made Godzilla and have always made Godzilla. Was there a guy in a suit in this film? Maybe. I know for a while, I think consistently, there's always a guy in a suit. There was a little bit more CGI. I'm going to say Godzilla was in it 20%. I think I'm being very generous with that number. And then the rest of the film, well, what I've been telling people is it's like old Japanese guys in conference rooms talking about what to do. But that's not entirely fair. There is a guy maybe in his early 20s, and a young Japanese woman who's supposed to be an ambassador from America, and I believe she's supposed to be born in America. Terrible, terrible English accents. And she's she's definitely born in America. She's aspiring to be president of the United States at some point. Anyway, if you're a diehard Godzilla fan, yes, it's a must watch, but otherwise, pass. Speaking of Nicholas Winding Refn, he did Neon Demon this year, a film I've been dying to see. I'm a huge fan. He's one of my favorite directors, and it's easy to say that because he doesn't have too many movies. But a very stylized director, someone who does a lot of. I always describe him as like graphic novel panels. It's just each shot can be frozen and framed, and so I heard that he was doing a horror film. Looking forward to that. It was about it's about the fashion industry and modeling. I was told by a friend that it lacked substance. Beautiful film. Wouldn't recommend it. Like nothing happens in it. There's no plot, no character, nothing. But I mean, it is about the fashion industry and about beauty. I said, would you describe the film as being only skin deep? Yeah, that's not funny now either, but I would recommend it. A lot of I've been surprised by how many people I've listened to about top movies of the year that have loved it. But then again, these are like film critic types. Film is very artsy. I don't know if Keanu Reeves is necessary, but thinking about it, I'm like, okay, that's another element. But it doesn't require much. I think the film does a lot with what it has, and you'll really enjoy the ending. Honorable mentions this year go to The Witch. Love it or hate it, beautiful. Slow. I mean, slow. I'm not spoiling anything by saying they give you the witch right at the beginning of the movie, which dispelled any, like, I was wondering if this is going to be like a paranoia, like, is there really a witch? What's really going on? There is a witch. There is a witch. Very good. See it. If you hate it, come back and tell me why. But of course, number one horror movie of the year, and of course I didn't see everything. What am I forgetting besides The Witch? I mean, I saw The Witch. That doesn't matter. Drum roll. Best horror movie of the year. You guessed it. Don't Breathe. Wow. Oh, wow. What a delight. I recommended this movie to a friend. For like, it's a good date movie. Bring a girl, and he's like, isn't there some type of? Well, we won't go into spoilers here, but let's just say what happens. I think would be even more frightening to a female. So, like, yeah, yes, absolutely. That's terrifying. You guys have any other business? I have no other business. So